my gosh, I'm pretty excited today. It is because I feel like I really completed a test. Like I really uh, completed it. I don't even know how to explain it. It is the whole thing with the babysitting situation, right? And throughout my life, I'm talking about patterns. Like we're here to heal patterns that we have been doing our whole entire life on autopilot, that we just automatically do things, and then we go around feeling like shit and feeling depressed and not feeling whole and all of that stuff. But we have these patterns that have developed without us thinking. Well, that's why we got to start thinking, so that we are the ones in control, not just our patterns, not just our pain, not just our suffering, not our trauma, that we ourselves as conscious beings are in control. And so when the whole babysitting thing got brought up, right? And it's so funny because they were telling me all the way back, whatever those days that I was watching them, they were telling me, this is going to become a thing. This is going to become a thing. She is, my child's sick, because that was already happening. My child's sick. I got to get to work. Can you watch them and all that? And I was like, okay, this is not, I gotta put a boundary here. I gotta do a thing. And it's so crazy because the one daughter who I've had the most conflict, who keeps moving in and moving out, and I've said that I know that she's there to teach me, and it has been consistently to teach me to put up boundaries. Like I said, as soon as my husband had moved out, and it was like right away she had moved in, but I'd already gone through some healing. I'd already gone through the dark night, that really rough winter. And then when she moved in, it was time for me to start rebuilding myself. And I didn't know, but they started telling me. And so right away she was challenging me. And I go in my room and be like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I don't understand. And they would tell me. That's how I started understanding. I relied on men to make boundaries for me. And that will fuck you up, man, I'll tell you, because they will make the boundaries for them, not for you. And so they were showing me that. They were showing me that I needed to come into balance with my masculine and feminine. I needed to not just be like worrying about what somebody else felt and doing whatever they needed and stuff. I needed to have boundaries and set myself into a place where I felt good. I couldn't just be a doormat. And so they were showing me and teaching me that. And they've consistently brought her back in to teach me more about my own inner strength and my own necessity for setting up boundaries and stuff. And they'll often do it with somebody who is a really close person in your family, the different lessons. And so a lot of people, they'll think, oh, we just don't get along. Well, it's because they're trying to teach you something. So yeah, it's a challenge. So anyways, going through all those different ones. And then the neighbor just so happens, like they're the same age and everything. Like they had even bonded and decided I was abusive. That's why this all starts really, like people get themselves into such a hypocritical state of mind when you're on an autopilot and you're just trying to survive the system. So, that you will even take somebody who you think is a liar, abuser, and crazy, and you'll have them watch your kids. like that's where stuff starts being like, okay, this is weird, man. So, but when so that was already coming up in me, that I was going to be asked, and I'd be like, okay, well, I can handle it when it comes around. I can handle it. But it was already having me play out the different, conversations or what was going to probably be asked, which then it was just as they had told me it was going to be. She's on the move. She'll knock over my shit. She ran out of medicine, so I'm sure she's very sore. But today her medicine comes, and she gets a box from Chewy with a bunch of treats, and she loves those. Oh God, she gets excited over the boxes. So, and I think she has a bully one coming, but I'm not going to do the bully one again. I'm not, I mean, if you had a small dog, I think, small dog that likes to get the box, but the stuff is just, they say that they will do it towards your own specific dog. But I don't think very many of those things can do a 175-pound dog. Like, they send these little tiny treats. It's like, she needs something bigger. So anyways, So I knew that I was going to be asked. They had already showed me, that they already told me, they were already prepping me up for the battle. Like, okay, so what do you think? So how do you really feel about this? Well, why would you be doing this? Well, how do you feel about that? Well, would you do it for this reason, that reason? Like they're making me play everything out. So I become very defined in what it is I want, what it is I need. And so then when I was asked, I was already sure. No, I definitely am setting a boundary. I'm an emergency sitter. I am not a regular, let's set this schedule due to what days they have off at school. And then besides the fact, if I have extra training or she's sick, I could need you to, no, I'm not available for that. I have my own things to do that I enjoy. And I don't care if somebody else thinks that I should be doing something else with my time, or that I should value the money that they value. Like, we're not in the same, this is where the split happens. This is the 3D, 5D split. I don't have the same values as somebody else. This, people think like we're going to another place. It's another place up in here. So you level up into what is important and what isn't important. And I value my time. I value my life. I value my time with Stella. I value, people I love and the people that I want to be around. I value things that most people find boring, I think, I value solitude. I value creativity. Like somebody even to turn around and try and make fun of me about that. It's like, oh my God, these low-blowing, bully kind of people. It's all coming up for them. Like this is everything is coming up for every single person. And it is for everyone's healing. So, but, I don't know how many bullies are ready to witness their own behavior and their own attitude and their own hypocrisy. But anyways, that's not what I'm talking about. So anyhow, when like last night, I was in there, I was doing the dishes, and for days and days, they keep saying things. Like I said, it started Friday afternoon when my daughter, like it was this all day thing too. Phone calls, texts, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh my God, I've got things to do. I don't have time to sit here and talk about drama on the telephone every day. Like, I swear to God, that's what it feels like sometimes. Like everybody has got stuff that, some days I swear to God, it's like you're just talking people off a cliff or something. So anyways, I was already having a day Friday. It didn't matter if she was here. She was here. It was in my orbit all day. And I wouldn't have had time to babysit, but they wouldn't be knowing anything about that. And if they are devaluing my life or my existence, then they wouldn't care. So I was, that's when they started telling me though, in my head, like, so now she's going to see that she didn't come, and she's going to be like, see, this is the conversation within that house. See, I knew that she was lying. Her family didn't even come. She's just lying. See, that kind of thing. And so they kept showing me this and showing me this. And I kept saying, I don't care. I don't care. And there was like a walking through it, like this consistently all weekend long of giving me this stuff. And I don't know if it's coming from them directly. I did notice so many conversations with so many different people that what I was hearing in my head was what they were saying. That has been shown to me over and over, but I can't know that for sure, because my guides are always trying to teach me and use different scenarios to help me develop. So I can't say, this was for sure going on in their house. For all I know, she's completely hadn't even thought of it. She didn't even know she didn't text me back, that she was ignoring me. She doesn't, for all I know, she's oblivious to that. I don't know. So it's not my concern. I don't care either way. That is the thing. When you get to the place where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what she thinks or what she doesn't think. It doesn't matter what they say or what they don't say. I feel good in my own choices, and me valuing myself, my time. That is what I have gotten to this place of being sure of myself with that. Not being in doubt. And that has been so many steps to get to the point of being sure of myself. when I'm taking care of myself, and to know to prioritize my own health, my own love for myself, and that includes so many different things. And it's so crazy because when people are so trapped in their own realities, they don't have value for what you need. You are not their concern. It truly is like this whole thing about the in the video games, I think they're EBS people or something. They're the extra people that are just going around, and they are not in the game. The people in the game who are aware of the game are playing the game. And then you have the people who aren't aware. They're just on autopilot, just going through their life. That is what I think is the awakening. It truly is that we've all been participating in the game as those players. And the awakening is the coming to awareness of the game, being aware of what's going on, and using your tools or weapons or whatever you need to get through the levels. And then it is you becoming the player. I just really hit my throat. Oh my gosh. I swear to God, sometimes it's like an attack on your throat when you're saying something they don't want you to talk about. I swear to God. There's no reason for it. It's just all of a sudden like a stab. So, anyways, the players, so the people who aren't awake yet, they're just the auto players in the game. They're the ones that are just going on and, going up to the store and stuff and just walking around. That is really what life is like. They really are in their own little worlds. They really are so stuck in here thinking about whatever things. It can trap them into the past. It can trap them in pain and suffering because they just get completely focused on that reality. And then when you become awake, you become aware, and you start pulling free from the game, and you start living directly from your intention, then you change as the player in the game, especially when you connect to who's in control, and you start realizing like, oh, I don't have control over this. I don't have control over that. I don't have control over much. I don't have control over anything, really. Like everything is set in motion. You're on a ride. There's nothing you can do to change that ride. Whatever was going to happen was always going to happen. And it trips me the fuck out is how many people literally believe 100% with all their mind, all their heart, that they have control. They have control over life and death. They have control over their lives. They have control over their destiny, all of that stuff. It is madness. People think that they can stop death. When death comes a knocking, you can stop it. Just put one of these on. Just put one of these helmet things on. Just all of this stuff. It's like, you can't stop it. You can't stop it. And even if you went and you put and this really got me going yesterday, and I did a post on it, and I had a bunch of comments. So this is what. So yesterday, and I'm having horrible, I don't know what else to call it. It feels like kind of anxiety. Like every nerve in my body is it is overactive. And even the ones in my hair and stuff, and my hair is like electrified, and every single cell in my body is like, it sucks. And I just saw this woman post of one of I think it was the one in Canada, the Freedom March things or whatever, where the Freedom Convoys. So in order to break it up, they used frequency weapons. And this one woman who I saw talking was saying how sick. She said every bone in her body, she said, I don't know what they've done, but we're all sick. It was horrible, but it's exactly what's happening. This is what they are doing. And so anyways, this frequency is intense, and it really is beginning to drive me insane. I mean, like right now, like it'll start on your nose, and it will start just like all these little itches, because it's like all these nerves just shooting off. It's so aggravating. Just, god damn, I cannot wait until this is over. And the fucking loud noise of the frequency. And to know it's all of the fucking, they want so much. They're putting more in under the ground. They know what they're fucking doing. This isn't by accident. This isn't like, oh, we didn't know electricity was killing you. God, our mistake. No, they're doing it like, oh, good. It's killing them. Oh, we're getting a lot of patience, aren't we? Let's load them up a little more. Let's see how far we can take this. And then, like, I don't know what they're going to start doing. Like, we're going to start again with the human combustibles again. Like, well, whatever that was called. It used to freak me out when I was a teenager. Suddenly people just combust. I swear to God. We're going to start having it again. And even if we do, they're not going to tell us. They're just going to go spray it on the crops. They're not going to go and tell us on the news, hey, people are just combusting. No, they've already covered it with the sudden death. Well, people are just suddenly dying. That's all we can tell you. They're suddenly dying. I wonder why. So anyways, so I had the door, I've been sitting here crocheting in my hand. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm giving myself tendonitis or something. But I'm obsessive. I'll sit there. Yeah, I really love making things and creating things and seeing. Like, that's my favorite thing, is to create something and see it after. A painting, anything. I just love creating things. And so anyways, so I'm sitting here crocheting, and I was kind of happy that my daughter was not coming this weekend and coming next weekend, because she'll take that whole box, and I wasn't quite done with all of the stuff I was making for her friend. And so next weekend works out better for me to come and take the stuff. So, and you just don't know, like, anything can happen this week, I swear to God. And when it goes down, it's going to fucking shut everything down. Like, there will not be mail, there will not, everything, probably the power, all of it. And I don't know if it's because when things start going in our way that they're going to panic and start just fucking mass murdering us. So, you don't know which side. Are they going to turn the power off to protect us because the power surge that they're trying to do on us to blow our fucking heads off? So, it's a wait and see. And just remember, you're eternal. None of this is real. So anyways, Stella kept wanting to go in and out, in and out. And it may be because now I have to have the heater on. It's fucking freezing here. And they've already put it out that there's a giant cold front coming from Canada that's going to be hitting all of America this week. We're going to go down, drop temperatures. I've got places that are still fucking like 100. And suddenly next week it's going to be like 30 degrees. And they'll go even colder. It will say 30 degrees. They'll say 30 degrees. And then you'll go and take your thermometer outside and it'll be like 21. Like, they fucking, just everything is such a lie. Every fucking thing is such a lie. So anyways, they're trying to kill us. So just keep that in mind about everything. Anything they're doing, they're trying to kill us on a daily basis. We are fighting a giant entity that is out to murder us every day. So anyways, Stella was going in and out, in and out. So I opened the door so that I could have, I don't know. She wants the door open all the time. So I just have the door open. And so kind of freshens up some air and stuff. I have a screen door, and it's got a really heavy screen, so barely any air passes. But it definitely changes it. The heater will come on because it feels the cold air coming in. But so there was people outside over at the neighbors. I keep wheezing. I'm definitely smoking too much, sitting here smoke. But it makes me smoke less, really, because I'm busy with my hands. But obviously, if I'm coughing, I'm smoking too much. But, if these are my last days, I'm going to enjoy them. So, the lady, there's these kids next door and the two dads. And at first I just thought it was the kids and one dad. But then I started hearing, oh, there's two dads out there and there's three kids. And so the one little girl started saying, Dad, can I take off my helmet, please? Can I take off my helmet? And it just struck me, just really hit me because of what we're putting kids through. When I grew up, we were out playing. We were out, we weren't worrying about germs. We weren't worrying about dangers. We were out just living life. And it makes, you create a lot of imagination, and creativity comes from out just playing. And so it has become very controlled, people's play. And it is all so much based on fear. Like, kids can't go outside by themselves. They can't do this. They can't do that. Like, all of this stuff that people have pulled more in. See, that's the collective. It becomes fearful and pulls in. And these people who think like we're doing everything really like, oh, if we all think whatever, we can make it. I have tried and tried and tried. There's definitely groups of meditation people. We can't stop what is already in motion. It's already in motion. This is already happening. It is already written. There is no changing what is written. And, if there is a whole thing about changing timelines, then that is for somebody to practice so that they can switch out of a timeline they don't want to be. But I think the only way to switch out is actually death, leaving the stage, leaving the whole experience. So I think that we switch timelines all the time, but it's due to our learning and what the lessons are that we need to have. But it's still, you're on a ride that is already set. Everyone who comes into your orbit, it was already set that way. They were always going to come in at that time. It was always going to happen. Just like when I was asking them that one day, like, well, tell me the future. When is this going to happen? How's this going to happen? All that stuff. And they said, we can't tell you the details like that, because then you would think you had control and you could go in and interfere. You could stop something when something has to happen a certain way, because everything that happens, there's a reason that it happens. And you could think like you want to stop this argument with Betsy Sue, but that argument needed to happen so that you would both grow from it. So that is the guidance, that I'm always getting is, there's a lot of things that we aren't allowed to just know the details. And that is where the whole thing with trust and faith and understanding destiny and not driving yourself crazy, thinking that you control it. It is like on the times when nothing's going on, that's your downtime. And then you go into times of challenge so that you can understand who you are and put it to test what you've learned and how well you're doing in all areas of your life. And so it's just these patterns of doing that throughout your life, because this really is like a school. This really is a teaching place and a learning place. So anyways, when I was hearing them, and it just really struck me, is how we've just become so controlled. I mean, a lot of parents is like, they don't want to feel loss. They don't want to feel pain. They got to protect their child. The government says you have to do this, the house to do that. I mean, they started the whole thing with seatbelt laws after they fucking started selling us plastic cars that were crumbling when they got wrecked. Instead of us saying, fuck this fucking cars that you're selling us, we want to go back to the steel cars. It's all manipulation. It's all direction. And they're always, we got your safety in mind. Now we're going to put airbags. We're going to put steel bars. We're going to make sure you wear your seatbelts. So, you got to have these car seats for kids. You got to have this. You got to have that. Like, it's all them making our world more unsafe for us. So, and then giving more things that we need to pay or purchase, and we need to follow the laws and the rules and stuff like that. But they're constantly creating them. So anyways, you have all these people who think that they've got to protect their child, and they got to protect their safety of their brain by wearing helmets and pads and all this stuff. But literally, if a child were to go, adult, anybody, if you were to go and fall down on their bike in some weird accident, get a brain injury, become paralyzed, or some strange thing that would happen from this person in this tragic accident of biking, then that was supposed to happen. That everybody involved was learning from that situation. Right now, most of the situations are learning of how much you're willing to give up control and not trusting and not understanding what life is all about. That's the awakening of the understanding, and so to start seeing it from a different perspective. So all the people who think like they have control over life or death, and that they're trying to block out any kind of lessons or obstacles or challenges that this life came to teach them. It's like, what are you alive for? Just to go to work for somebody? Like, you're here to learn. You're here to go through challenges so that you can expand, so you can become smarter and bigger and, wiser as a soul. Because everything carries in your DNA, your pattern of self, what is that thing called? The program, it's like your label. It's not a label. It's your recipe to yourself. It's your ingredients. It is like your barcode, you know. Yeah, all information from every life goes into that essence of you. So you really do learn. So when you're coming here and you're trying to block out lessons, you're not taking advantage of what you're here for, especially when you get really caught up in fear. Why am I here? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Oh my God, everything's out to get me. What am I going to do? You know? And that is really easy to have happen. And that is why it's happening on such an extreme level right now, is to bring people into that question and their come to Jesus moments, you know, questioning who and what am I? What does it all mean? What am I doing here? And so it's that process. And that is, you know, everybody's got to go through it right now. And everybody's got to go through facing themselves, facing their own judgments. Anything that you've been judgmental about somebody else, but your ass is going to be happening in your life right now, so that you can see it from the other side, so that you can release judgment and you can start understanding that when you stand back and judge somebody, it's real easy to do when you're not in the experience. When you're in an experience, it gives you a new perspective. And that is what we have to start as more advanced creatures, understanding about people and not judging their experience or their lesson plan or whatever. Allow them to learn their lessons the way that they came in to learn their lessons. It's not up to us to decide. And so in the comments and stuff, you know, there's like a lot of people who get it, who understand, like, we don't have control. Like, you can put all these on, you can put all these in you, you can do everything possible that you think is going to save you, and it's not going to save you, because there is a set, just as your birth date is set, the day that you're going to leave is set. It's a set time. You've got a set contracted event that is your life. And it is just in that set time. There is no messing it up. Like, I've seen crazy stuff even when I was younger, and I was a wild kid. I was very wild. I was very self-destructive. I'm telling you, you walk into a party and someone had a handful of pills, I'd grab a couple to stake them in. Like, I didn't care ever what happened to me. I didn't. And I have been through things where it was miracles. And so I know that you can't go before your time. And anybody who has challenged that also knows that. You can't go before your time. They will fucking pick up your car and move it. Like, you'll be like, wait, where am I? What am I doing here? How did I just get here? Like, there is no getting around it. And you do have a whole crew with you at all times. And it's so crazy too, because I had just seen this, and if you remember months and months ago, and I was talking about my mom when she started getting really upset about what I went through as a child. And so she was questioning her own guidance, like, why would you let this happen to my little child, to my little baby, and all this stuff. And they told her the same thing that they had told me. And that was really trippy. But they had told her that I was never alone. I always had them with me, and I was there learning, and they were there with me teaching. And I have seen other people now. I just saw somebody the other day, and they were talking about something with that, you know, and it is what I think kind of gives you those gifts. Like I said, like, they've been talking to me since I was 3. I could always hear them, and I recognize them. Even if I don't hear them for a couple days, as soon as they start talking, you recognize that there's somebody else talking. And I always think people can figure it out. Like, if you start asking questions that you don't know the answers to, then when you think you are answering yourself, then start recognizing, oh, that's them talking. Okay, now, and then start doing it more and more and more, asking them questions, and then listening, focusing on listening for the answer, and start recognizing how they communicate, which can be in all sorts of things. It can be symbols, songs, TV, someone saying something, you know, across the street suddenly. Like, it's crazy. It's very exciting. It's very fun when you really tune in and tap into that other world and communicating with them. But anyways, so the whole thing, this person was like, you know, that they were always there telling me things from a young age. And I think that there was a lot of us that we went through some kind of trauma or abuse as a young child, and we felt alone, but they were really with us, and they've been talking to us the whole time ever since. And that is a part of the thing. Like, we really are never alone. The only aloneness is in our own minds, where we feel alone. We think we're alone, so we close ourselves in on ourselves to protect ourselves. And that's what we have going right now, is so many people have closed in on inside themselves to protect themselves. They've become very tight and closed in, and, you know, just wanting to follow the rules and not make waves. But you got to come out. That is the phoenix coming out of the ashes. That is you setting yourself free. You starting to understand what life is all about and take command of your life and become a warrior in your own life and stop fearing it and stop fearing death. And there's such a big important thing about the realization of what death is, that it is really truly not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something new. Every transition is and you truly take your knowledge and wisdom from the lessons you learned here into the next experience. And every experience has a potential to raise your vibration into more higher experiences. So the more you learn from these deep, dense experiences, then it transitions you into higher experiences. So when you really take your time here, see, that's the thing, is when people don't understand, then they just have to keep going in and keep learning the same damn lessons. And people have to come into contact with their soul. Every challenge is so that you can, but things have to get so bad because people really think that they have control over their lives and that they can do something to change it, but it isn't true. So I probably should go feed her. God, there was some more things I wanted to say. If I don't get interrupted, then I'll come and say, because there was some more stuff about stuff I was seeing. But it does seem like that, I mean, I don't get how this can drag. Like, this has blown my mind. It blows it more and more all the time. Like, how do they freaking drag this stuff out? Like, the money, just everything. Like, they pull all of these off the thing and say, oh, no, you can't give them. But there's still people out there giving them. It's like, this is so bizarre. They keep this money thing going. But there has still not been anybody who's come and looked at that. I mean, if anybody's come and looked, I haven't noticed. But the houses were selling before they were even done. People were buying the houses. So to me, it's the bank. And that to me is also a good sign. If the bank's not loaning money, but oh, this was something too. And this is exactly what I motherfucking said. And this is exactly what they're motherfucking doing. So this film was of Florida, where there's the floods, and this was a mobile home park. And so they don't actually own their land. They own their trailer, but they have to rent their land. So, and this is a big community of them. So, you know, it's not just like a little trailer park. There's a big community with nice big mobile homes, if you've ever been in one. A lot of retirement communities and stuff like do that. And so all of these big, nice things, and then they only get a tiny little lot. It's not like they get much space, and then they have to pay for their space. And so this is how the government, it's all working together. So what they're going in and doing is lowballing these people. They're saying that it's ruined. Nope, they can't do anything about it. So we're going to buy you out, lowball you, not give you anything it's worth. Some of them, they're not even going to give them anything. Sorry, it's your loss. And giving them nothing. And then the company, the people who own the land are going to turn around and redevelop it. This is what I keep saying. The developers, the contractors, the real estate, the city planners, they're all in cahoots. They're all patting each other's pockets. I mean, this is ridiculous what they're doing to people and how they expect people to live and stuff like that. But it is all the plan to just take people's homes away from them right before winter and create this definite dependence on the government because there's no resources. They've, they wrecked the food. Even people trying to grow food in their own yards, the rain and the fake sun and whatever they've got going, the chemical sprays, all of it has destroyed all these people's different gardens. There's a total food shortage is going to be happening. For people like me who have been collecting dry beans and canned beans and stuff like that, it wouldn't affect us. And plus, you get yourself into a way of thinking, like you realize, Jesus Christ, I could just eat a couple spoonfuls of beans and peanut butter each day and I'll be surviving. But people will get themselves into a panic and think, oh, I got to have the pyramid. I've got to have certain meals. I'm going to starve to death. I'm going to turn into a Holocaust person. And they'll create that for themselves. They'll make it happen. It's all in here. Everything is in here. It's how you look at things. It's you create it for yourself. So it's all a mind game. Everything is a mind game. And we're being challenged all the time to get our minds right. And it's so kind of funny, too, is how they say that, oh, humans are too weak-minded. They can't handle the truth. And then you go in and you start speaking the truth. And how many people come into your comments and think that's a bad thing? Oh, that's evil, you negative person. Shut up. Don't talk like that. And it's bizarre. It's like they're so programmed that they can't even accept the truth. The truth is a fucking scary thing. That they don't want people to speak about things. Like they want it all to be it's weird. But anyways, so there was a couple of things that were all going into my mind at once. Anyways, the whole thing with the frequency, like when I was watching this movie, which I say watch this movie for sure. It's weird. I cannot believe the most random movies that I will put on, and it is nonstop showing me nonstop. Is it like I'm so tuned into it, or they just keep bringing me this stuff? So I put on this movie yesterday called I Still See You. The very first part of the movie, just put on the first couple minutes. It's all about the event. It's all about the sky exploding. It's all about the labs and them exploding with their chemicals and what happened to people. And it's like, oh my God, this is nonstop. But this other movie, the Lockdown 2025, is really good. I think it really was showing a lot of things. But those movies I saw yesterday was like, oh my gosh, there is so much disclosure all the time around us. Like, you got to be preparing. People have got to be preparing. And it isn't just, loading up your basement with tons of food and stuff like that. It's in here. It's realizing, what do you really need to survive? How long do you really need to survive? Things are going to change. This is the climax of the battle. This is the big switcheroo. This is the change in power. This is the power going back to the people. And this is what they're trying to stop and block. I mean, they took down the towers, the Pentagon, all of that stuff to try and stop the bank situation the last time. So, they're going to go big. They have no choice. They've done horrible crimes, and most of them have already been, but it's all a game to continue with these CGI people to show us, to get us outraged. So we're ready for when justice starts coming. Because if we were all still asleep, we would all be so confused. And with the TDS going, the derangement syndrome with these people, they would think they would still see it in the opposite. They would think this was this person being a dictator and taking over. They wouldn't understand at all because they're so much in the upside down. They're still in a state of confusion. So that's why there had to be so much absurdity to this awakening to get more and more people to understand and pull free from the TDS, which was all a created situation anyways, and then to get people to start becoming aware and realizing that he wasn't the bad guy. Orange man bad, orange man bad. And to realize like that it's the guy who is there and his son and their whole fucking, all of the people. Every 98, we can't even just say just Joe. It's 98% of the politicians. They sold us out, and a lot of them got because they were so perverted that there's so much blackmail on them, and then they just all turned into a criminal enterprise. Like every single fucking criminal works for the government, and I don't know how people can't see it. The judicial is there to protect the criminals. They are not there to protect us. And a criminal does a good job, they will be hired, just like I've talked about before. Certain personalities they look for, and soldiers and all of it. In this world that we've been living in is a complete espionage for the pharmaceutical companies to make off of us. We have been living in this, in like we're lab rats, and now all of these different ones are, it's all over the control, and to keep the secrets hidden, because then if we understood that we were experiments, then we wouldn't be the same. You would draw a completely different hypothesis. Like the people who are waking up, we're doing different things. We're not taking in the chemicals like they want us to. So you see what I mean? They have to keep us in the dark to make their experiments really work. So everything, like that's how they come to terms with having to keep us. But they always tell themselves this is the best thing for humanity. We're helping the humans of the future. But what they're doing is they are creating laws like California now. They have made this open-ended fetus extraction thing. You know, now they've got it to where, yeah, you could do it up until the time of birth. And now 12-year-olds can go there without parents and get surgery to remove all their reproductive organs. So, and they've got that in more states than that. Like, it is so absolutely astounding. Like, the absurdity is so outrageous. Like, I cannot believe people even to think that a child can make these decisions. When I was 26 and I asked for a tubal, I didn't go in and ask for a hysterectomy. I guess all I had to do was go in and say, I'm really a man. Just take this thing out of me. I'm a man. I'm a man. I've been a man my whole life. Just please take this thing out of me so I can go about my manly duties. And then I guess it would have been acceptable. But because I said, oh, I've got 2 kids, it's way too hard. It's too expensive. I can't do this on my own. I can't have more children. Please do a tubal. Oh, no, you're way too young to make the decision like that. Oh, no, that's dangerous. No. You have to continue being a breeder. We have expectations. It's like, it's mental. It's absolute mental. I cannot believe parents are going in and doing this. And the Mayo Clinic, the Children's Hospital, all these big names are doing, these are crimes against humanity. All these people are going down. That's what I'm saying. Like, when people wake up and they see the truth and see the reason they're doing this stuff. Yeah, you guys are all playing along. You just want your child to be a little fucking dependent, financially dependent 100% on the pharmaceutical company, but then also dependent on, well, for everything, to even keep procreation is out of their hands. Like, they're taking it away. And I'll tell you this too. This came to me yesterday. I was thinking about a couple things, and this is going to be kind of strange. And so I don't know. I just think it's something to consider. So we have a bunch of girls, like my daughter, she's had a whole bunch. And I don't know, when you say that there is a full, half, and a placebo. So I don't know what, none of us know who's gotten what, And so, and one of her friends just had the baby. That's what I'm making these blankets for. And she had had all these. She's a professor in a college for psychology. Like, she's deep in the system. And most young girls are choosing names that have no gender specific. But I did that a long time ago. But I had heard that women with boys' names get further in business. So I was just trying to get my daughter's foot up by not locking them into Betsy or something. So I gave them all androgynous names or boyish names or something. But I grew up with the boyish names, so to me it made sense. But so now people are doing it for another agenda, because they can't define their child. Now there's even a report out that the medical has said that babies can decide, even though they are just a clump of cells, now they can decide in utero if they're the wrong gender. It's like the absurdity of what they say, and who believes this nonsense? It's like mental. And so anyways, the what was I saying? Oh, okay. So the different with the dosing. So we know for sure that there was certain doses, I would say full dose, that was targeted to certain proteins, like certain proteins that like a black man or a Chinese man has inside of them that is different than a white man has. Like there's different makeup inside of our DNA that makes us very specific to who we are. And it does show on the exterior some of the things, like the difference in hair color, eye color, and those kinds of things, shapes, sizes, and stuff like that. It goes much deeper into what it is you want to eat and all sorts of things. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So we know for sure they were targeting certain groups. There's huge amounts of men that were killed from this certain thing. Like, it wouldn't even surprise me if it was like every place that was handing these out had several different lot numbers in there. Like, oh, this is the one for men. This is the one for women. This is the one for babies. This is the one for old people. Like, it would not surprise me if it was that deceitful back in the back room. So anyways, when those people have taken the ones and then they've gone automatically. But I was thinking, because all of that time ago, I had done that thing that they had told. My girls were like 12 and 13, and they took them into, that they were always having to do like the sports physicals and stuff like that, because they were both sports. And so when we went in and they said that there's this new thing for HPV and that makes them not get cancer, and one of my daughters had already had it and already had a scare of it and was having to get tested. And so I was like, well, that's probably smart. I better do that. And so I just thought there's so much of that VD going around in young girls that it was likely, especially if it's turning into cancer. So I thought I was protecting them, and I got that series of shots. But now that's come out that there's a whole bunch of people who lost their reproduction from those. So it sterilized them from those. And those two daughters, the older ones and the younger ones, the two younger ones haven't tried to have any. Neither of them want to have kids. So they don't even question that. To them, it would be like, oh, well, that's good. And then I don't have to worry about birth control. But they're on birth control. But they don't have to. But I don't know, because they've never challenged that. So I don't know that for sure they're sterile. But it is interfered. We know for sure it's interfered. Then with these new lot numbers, we know for sure that there was a huge attack on, killed a bunch of men, but then there was a huge attack on women's reproductive. But there was also a huge attack on men's reproductive. It really screwed up a lot of sperm. A lot of stuff is going on. I think a lot of prostate cancer, a lot of stuff is going on. Probably all sorts of ball cancer, no telling what all. But it was targeted to certain areas. And so I was thinking, I wonder if this whole group of college-educated worker bee women were given half dose or placebo just so that they kept, like, if they take out all the men, they still need some workers. So did they just do the placebo half dose or something on a lot of women So a certain age range, a certain socioeconomic status of college graduate or something, so that they could have their worker bees, because those are the ones that they've got the most mind control over, because they've been the most educated. And the education is about indoctrination. It's about mind control. It's about becoming the government's little slave bitch. So I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just something to kind of ponder and notice. Like, start noticing who is being the most affected and who isn't. I think it's going to show more, whatever they're going to do on these attacks. And it's been so clear in all these movies that I've seen. It's EMF every fucking time. Or pulse, no, EMP. So every single time it's electromagnetic pulse. It's the frequency that is the problem that's going to kill us. And they're actively doing it currently. And when I did when I watched the lockdown in 2025, and it had this part where the guy started having like a chest pain, and the frequency went so loud in his ears. And when I was watching, I was like, this is how I live all the time. And I was thinking, I cannot be the only one who's hearing this all the time. And now they're going to market it to people and say, oh, you're having a heart attack. That's because you're having a heart attack. Run. And they've got all this stuff about heart attacks right now, right? So it's perfect time to start thinking, oh my God, I hear this frequency. I'm having a heart attack. Run to the ER. Run to be saved by those motherfuckers. So then if it is the frequency weapons, and see, in the experiment, they monitor, like, how many people go to the ER for this frequency, how many people, what are people coming in, like all these people with tendinitis. It's tendinitis. No, it's the motherfucking frequencies. It's the electricity. And we shouldn't even have all this electricity like this. We shouldn't have wires running all over the place and into our homes and stuff. It is a current that is interfering with our own energetic frequency. And so it is, and they're doing it on purpose. So anyways, I keep getting so lost on what I'm talking about. I'm getting on too many things at once, I feel like. So anyways, the frequency is, we're definitely under frequency attack. And I'm not saying just like every single person makes a movie. Like, there's certain things you have to put in the movie. It's not by accident that we suddenly have all these gay couples in movies and they're all having sex. Like, oh, you guys need to accept gay people having sex. I don't want to accept straight people having sex. I don't need to be a voyeur into people's sex lives. I don't need to watch people make out for 5 minutes up close and their tongues all touching their face. Like, it's not what I need to see. Like, I don't care about that. Is that all you got in your story? That's it? That's all you got to offer? It seems like that is basically what they're trying to do, is just figure out a story that they can stick a lot of sex in. And then they want us, pretty soon they're going to have old men doing it with kids. Well, you guys just got to understand, it's like, oh my God, this is world. They just want people to accept such depravity or whatever. And people are just willing to accept it. Well, my neighbor said it's okay. Must be okay. It's like, what is your heart? What does your soul say? What do you say inside of you? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Don't just follow along with the rest of the crowd. Jeez, that is fucking Twilight Zone 101. So, anyways, I don't know. I feel like I've said a whole bunch of things and I don't even know if I said anything. Don't even know if I completed a sentence. The frequency, the weapons, we're under attack, the chemicals, the toxins, they can't kill you before your time to go, and just the whole thing of people, just their confusion and what people will allow. And it's all based on fear, and they don't even realize they're fearing life. They're actually fearing being alive. So it's a waste of life when all you do is fear it. So anyways, there's great purpose in this great awakening, and it is going to be something really big and substantial that will happen. And I don't know if it's going to be them trying to stop what's happening, or if it's going to be the good guys taking them down, or if it's going to be the space guys coming to hell. Like, I don't know. I just feel certain that there is I hope, honestly, that the whole thing, why the electricity is going to go down is to protect us, so that they can't do this big thing to do it, you know. I think it's been shown over and over. That's what they intend to do. And the people who survive, they want to put them into an apocalyptic dystopia, horrible world. And they've already been in the process of creating it. When you go in and you look at the map, how they've divided it, they've already got it into the 12, whatever that is in the Hunger Games. They've already got that established, the 12 divisions. And I think I'm in division 12. You can look at the map. It's some kind of political thing. I don't remember what the map is about, but there's enough people sharing it. I'm sure you can just probably type in Hunger Games America map or something. So, anyways, they've been in this process for a long time. This place has never been what people thought it was, and people have to wake up and see the truth and have to learn how to start protecting themselves, because whatever's about to come is going to be, it's going to be hard. I feel like it's going to be gruesome. I think it's going to be intense, and I think a lot of people are going to die. And that is going to seem really sad. And really, we got to be thinking that, you know, they're just out of the game. They're just out of the game. They finished. So anyways, I'll talk to you later.